To the Vatican, to Wallingford, it's time for Monsoon Live right here on YouTube. I am the host, Jeffrey Monsoon Mysick. Welcome everybody to today's show. Ready to Fight by Robert Frey kicking us off. Did you have a good week? It's been a crazy week here in the Philadelphia area. We'll get to that, along with DC and New York. We'll get to all that on the broadcast today. And of course, today on the show, we're going to talk about the Pope, a speaker, Doctor Who / Gotham News, and also, gotta go into the world of boxing. But first, if you like what you've been seeing, if you like what you saw last week, thank you to everybody. You can like us and subscribe to us, please. You know, come on, you get to see this every week. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Monsoon Live 83. I'd like for you guys to follow me and see what I'm up to, because during the week I go to the gym. I'm going to be posting some more stuff to it. But first, let's get to the weather forecast from the NG Weather Center. Well, for today, it's going to be cloudy, high of about 74, 75 here on the East Coast. Tonight, 40% chance of rain. Sorry, everybody, the lunar eclipse. Look for that to be a low of about 59. For the rest of the week, Monday and Tuesday, chance of rain. Temperatures about 76 and 80. In the week ahead, guess what? It's going to feel like fall here. 67 and 66 for the upcoming weekend. Looks gorgeous for this coming weekend. So, you got plans to go outside next weekend? Looks great. Over in the tropics, real quick, not much. Tropical depression Ida is still turning, should still be just turning in the Atlantic for the time being. If anything changes, obviously, we'll break into our normal broadcast. But that is the weather from the Weather NG Weather Center. Well, we got to start out with the astronomy event before we get to the big event. We like to sometimes talk about a little bit about space news, but this Sunday, today, because just so you guys know, in case you're new to the broadcast, we record the show on Saturday, and then we air it Sunday. This Sunday, today, we have a total lunar eclipse. It is a supermoon. It is a blood moon. It basically means the moon's closer to the moon. The moon's closer to us in relation to its orbit. And it's cool, but we're going to have a cloud deck over our area, so maybe the further north and west, like going out towards Pittsburgh, you might get a chance to see it. For those of you here, right here in the Philadelphia metropolitan region, and if you're on the West Coast or wherever you're viewing this show, we will put a link to the lunar eclipse that you can watch it exclusively, probably via NASA, on Monday. So if you missed it, we're still going to have a chance to see it. But let's talk about the big stories that are occurring right now. There's a big story right now. The 61st Speaker of the United States Congress, Speaker John Boehner, resigned on Friday. What? Yes. Speaker Boehner resigned amid some pressure in the leadership and also some internal issues. And also, he had planned to resign. This is what he has said. He had planned to resign, according to his speech, at the end of last year when the Republicans won. He then said, nah, I'm going to stay on. He was going to resign in November, but he decided now he would be resigning in October. So we will wait and see who will be the 62nd Speaker. And I just want to say we want to wish Speaker Boehner, on behalf of the Monsoon Live world, all the best in what he does. And I have to say, it was kind of interesting seeing him and Joe Biden with Pope Francis speaking at the joint session of Congress of this week in DC. It was powerful, just wow. Just wow. So, speaking of that, let's get to it. For those of you in the Philadelphia area, you know what it's like with Pope Francis in town. By the time this show is done, he will be gearing up for his papal mass, which we'll get to in a minute. But Pope Francis arrived on Tuesday to the U.S. His first trip to America. and he met with President Obama. They rolled out the red carpet. It was so amazing to watch that. And, you know, the people saying, "We love you, Pope." Yeah, Papa. One of the most powerful statements he made in his trip into the Washington area was to the bishops, saying, "We are all equal. We are all," and he goes, "I am with you." Kind of cool that this guy who is speaking this, saying, "Hey, look, I'm just like you." And then, then he decided on Thursday he was gonna go visit Congress in a joint session of Congress. Of course, you have to be invited by the speaker. The speaker invited him. He listed some stuff, and I'm going to share with you in his speech. He demonstrated, here are the 9 quotes Pope Francis' speech to Congress that demonstrate how he is reshaping the Catholic Church's political principles. I'm just going to quickly, I'm probably not going to read all of them. We'll post them on our new blog site next week. Yes, we actually are going to, we're almost done. 1, our world is facing a refugees crisis of magnitude not seen since the Second World War. In the world, if we want security, let's give us security. If we want life, let's give life. If we want opportunity, let's provide opportunity. The Golden Rule was established. This is another one of his quotes. The Golden Rule also reminds us of our responsibility to protect and defend human life at every stage of development. This conviction has convinced me from the beginning. My ministry is to advocate the different levels of global abolition of the death penalty. Number 9, why are deadly weapons being sold to those who plan to inflict untold suffering on the individuals and society? Sadly, we all know the answer. It's simple as money. Money that is drenched in blood, often innocent blood, is the face of shameful, culpable silence. It's our duty to confront the problem and stop the arms trade. And that's just some. Here's another one. We the people of this continent are not fearful of foreigners because most of us were once foreigners. And that was from his speech to Congress, a part of his speech to Congress this past week, which was just amazing. And then Saturday, he made a speech in Philadelphia, one of his speeches, that as we're recording this, he said, "This morning," and this is his homily, "I've learned something about the history of this beautiful cathedral, the story behind its walls and windows. I would think it through the history of the church in this city and state is really a story not about building walls but breaking them down. And it's a story about generations of committed Catholics going out to build communities of worship, education, charity, and service to the largest society." And that is Pope Francis. His next up is he'll be doing a thing on Independence Hall on Saturday as well. And Pope Francis will then attend the Festival of Families concert on Ben Franklin Parkway at 7:30. And then the Papal Mass on Sunday, which will be huge. And for all of us in this area, we know what we've been dealing with, which is chaotic traffic shutdowns and SEPTA issues. But another thing that happened with Pope Francis, and like I said, we're devoting a lot to Pope Francis because today, so don't worry, this is the big news story of the day in for America. Pope Francis basically said we got to take care of the poor, we got to take care of the hungry. He's really doing a lot. The UN speech was amazing, and then at the cathedral, at the speech in Madison Square Gardens, the music, the speeches were just powerful as well. So Pope Francis will then leave Sunday night to go back to Rome, and we just hope that he has good travel back. And thank you for coming to Philadelphia, New York, and DC, and giving us many memories. So that is the news on the papal visit, and hopefully we'll have some highlights next week. We're just going to talk a little bit about that next week. But we want to devote a bulk of the show to the papal event that went down. Now, let's talk about it. It's time. What a ride, TV-wise. A lot of great shows premiered this week, including Doctor Who and Gotham. Doctor Who premiered this past Saturday, and what a ride. We're not going to give away spoilers. We just can't do that for either show. But Gotham, let's just say this, the one thing I will give away. I will give away one spoiler for Gotham first. Gotham's number one. Was this. The inmates are out. The Joker and the Riddler are established, and the Penguin looks freaking awesome. All these new characters, the characters are just, it feels good. I cannot wait for Monday. I'm excited. Number 2. The Doctor came back. Davros is back. One of the oldest villains in Doctor Who, next to Daleks, Exterminate, came back this week. Just an amazing first episode. It was like, woo! Say, woo! So it was fun. It was a great show, great review on that one. It's also now time for another new segment, which I love, even though it's towards the end. Yes, I got the gloves out. It's boxing news. Let's go right to it. Big update. There's a calf injury that has forced a postponement of the Klitschko fight with Tyson Fury. So that's been about it. Tonight, if you're lucky to go on NBC, Saturday night if you were able to watch it, Dimitri Wilder versus Joanne Dupins in a 12-rounder for the WBC heavyweight title. Good fight. That should be a good fight. 2 top heavyweights duking it out. Also, in other boxing news, Manny Pacquiao will be returning probably next year, February or March. And the other big news, I was just reading, we're going to have a couple light heavyweight battles. If you go into GoFightLive.com, October 2nd, we have Jason Soso versus Julio Perez in an 8-round junior lightweight. And there's just a couple local fighters that we're going to be working into that. So that's the boxing news for now. We're going to get some more stuff next week. Of course, we had to cover the Pope and all that. Coming up, my closing thoughts. We liked the segment from last week. Guess what? We're going to do closing thoughts here. So, been a crazy week for all of us here on the area. For those of you who don't know, we had a lot of road closures. It's been busy, and we're working on getting the blog site up. Next week, we will have it up, and we're excited, so we'll have that on our YouTube. But I just want to talk about a little bit about the significance of what's going on in our world right now. We've had we're going through a series of changes in the U.S. Throughout this time, and I think it's amazing. So for those of you who are history buffs who are watching the show, and those of you who are just who love to debate the issues of the day, feel free to go use your voice. Your voice is power, and you can really shake things up. And I'm going to encourage the Monsoon Live universe. Use your voice. Let people know. I began a personal journey myself this week. I evaluated my friendships, and I'm very blessed. I have an executive producer who's a great friend of mine. He just helped build the show, and I want to thank him. And I got some really great friends. This weekend I'm going to be spending some time with them. And in closing, as I wrap this thing up, your friends are your life, and so is your family. Friends, family, faith, and work. I always put work towards the end. In my book, family and friends are number 1 along with the faith. They mold together. And, I'm gay. I'm proud of it. And I'm also a Catholic/hybrid Christian. Go figure. And my faith does, and I also study boxing. I'm I'm training. But if I didn't have my support system, I would not be standing here today. So, my challenge for you today, make sure you got a right-hand man behind your back, watching you, making sure you're doing good, and building you up. Those are my friends. So I hope you guys have a great week. Next week on the show, going to be another busy week. We're going to wrap up what's left of Pope Francis's visit to the U.S. We're going to cover more boxing news. Also, I'm going to be announcing, we're trying to get this. We're going to try and get our first interview. And we're going to be working on some stuff as well. So again, follow us on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at MonsoonLive83. And of course, like us and subscribe to us. But for now, this has been our show. It was the Pope Francis. Next week, we take over it. I am Jeffrey Monsoon. Keep it real. Peace.